All right, so this whole page is about something called the correlation coefficient. Okay? When finding the line of best fit using a graphing calculator or Desmos, the last line in the display should be the value for a quantity labeled R. So in Desmos, you'll see the R and the R squared. We're looking for the R, which is known as the correlation coefficient. So the next sentence is for those people with graphing calculators. If your calculator is not displaying R, you need to press second 0, then use the down arrow to scroll down, and it's going to be a while to choose diagnostics on, and then you have to press enter and try the calculation again. It'll come up. This number, now to the really important part, this number measures how well the line seems to fit the data. I'm going to say that again. The correlation coefficient measures how well the line seems to fit the data. Let that sink in. The closer R is to 1 if you have a positive slope, or negative 1 if you have a negative slope, the more accurately the data you entered can be modeled using a linear equation. Here are some examples based on data from 2 of the author's classes last semester. On number 8, it says, one of these scatter plots has a correlation of 1900ths. Now that is not very close to 1 at all. The other has a correlation of 8200ths. Discuss which you think is which and why. So if I drew a line kind of through these points, it looks to me that a lot of these points aren't that far from the line. And if I try to do the same thing over here, well, we have some issues, don't we? Okay. So I'm thinking that this graph has an R of 8200ths and this graph has, an R of 1900ths. Number 9 says, of the scatter plots, one of the scatter plots has each student's homework score for the semester on the x-axis and the corresponding overall percentage in the course, from 0 to 100 on the y-axis. The other, again, has overall percentage on the y-axis, but along the x-axis is a student's position alphabetically in the class. So the student whose name comes first alphabetically is 1, the next is 2, and so on. So they ask, which plot do you think is which? Well, I'm pretty sure that your last name doesn't influence what grade you're going to get in the class, unless I'm the laziest of all teachers when I grade. So I'm pretty sure how much homework you do might influence your grade as opposed to what your last name is. So I'm going to think that the first graph, I'm going to say that would have to do with, homework. And I bet the second one has to do with alphabet. All right. And then 10, it says, what is the value of the correlation coefficient R for the fast food sandwich plot? They're asking us to round to 2 decimal places. Generally, they round this to 4. Don't really know what the magical reason is. So because that was fairly close to the number 1, since we has a positive slope, we could say that the, let's see here, what should we say? That the line seems to fit the data pretty well, okay? Now, it's not a perfect fit. If it was a perfect fit, our R would be 1, wouldn't it? Okay? Now, we are going to skip 11 and, well, number 11 on the next page. So the next video we will start up with number 12.